G'day folks, it's the Motorrad Rider again. Today I'm going to show you something that I've found that's made by GIVI. Okay, if you've got a tank bag, you might find that it's useful to be able to power or charge your phone, your tablet, a camera, whatever else. And it can be a little bit difficult. But GIVI have come up with this. It's a 12-volt power hub. It's an S111. And to power it, you have a special lead. It's a proprietary lead. It's designated an S110. So these are what we're looking at today. The hub has got 3 USB ports on it, which we'll go into more detail in a little while. But if you're interested in powering up your tank bag and being able to charge your phone, tablet, whatever, GPS, stay tuned. I'll take you through the unboxing of this, and I'll take you also through the install on a BMW R1200 GS Adventure. So stay tuned, hopefully you'll get something out of it. These are good. Okay, we're going to unbox the power hub itself, the 12-volt power hub. So we'll just set this down and pop the little tacker open, like so. And it doesn't want to come open. Okay, here we go. So what we've got in here, set of instructions, a template. That template is used if your tank bag does not have the GIVI connection set up in it. Okay, I'll show you that connection set up when we're doing the install. You've got the dual lock. It's essentially heavy duty Velcro. Okay, so we've got that. We've got a seal and a cap to go on the outside connection that attaches into the tank bag. You've got this. This is essentially the connector, and it comes apart like so. Okay, long thread. That part goes on the outside of the tank bag. This part goes on the inside, as far as I know. That may be the other way around. I haven't read the instructions yet. But anyway, that's the whole idea. That just pushes through the centre of the cut that you make in the tank bag, or in the case of the GIVI connected tank bags, it's already cut, so it just pushes through and seals up. Actually, yeah, okay, so that's that. That is the hub. So you've got 3 USBs and a 12-volt out with a proprietary connection there. And last but not least in here is the curly cord that goes from the connection that is on the 12-volt socket and the power cord that we use, which is the S110, to the back end of this. Okay. So essentially that will push into there like so. Okay, and that's got a rubber gaiter over it. Okay. So that's essentially what is in the S111. So we'll move that to one side and bring on board the S110. Okay. And we'll open this up. Make this a little bit easier. And once again, set of instructions. You have the cord. Okay. You have the little mount that you'll put somewhere on the bike, and a cable tie that you then mount this socket onto that mount. Okay. this socket goes onto that mount, and it goes in a particular orientation as well, and I'll show you that when we're doing the install. Okay, so it's essentially that will sit like that, and then you put the zip tie through this little slot here and around, and then it secures this to the bike. Pop that rubber cap off and there's your connection. Okay, so that's what we've got there. Now I'm just going to make sure I push that in the right way, because there's a little plug in there that goes actually inside this, so it's quite a good fit. Okay, so that's what you get. You can't run the hub, you can't run this little tacker. Just get that the right way around. You can't run that without this. Okay, you've got to buy those. For those of you that are technically orientated, I'll just see if I can show you the figures on there. So it's an input of 9 to 15 volts, maximum of 8 amps, USB 5 volt out with a maximum of 2.2 amps, and the output, the 12 volt output on there, is 9 to 15 volts with a maximum of 5 amps. Okay, so that's the hub. The S110 comes with a 5 amp fuse already on board. Okay, it's a standard blade fuse. I'd have to say it's supposed to be a waterproof connection, or waterproof fuse holder. I have my doubts, to be honest. It's not shutting particularly well. So I might replace that. I might put it on the bike as it is, and just put some tape around it. It should be okay. But anyway, there we have it. That's the unboxing of the S110 power cable, or power supply, and the S111 Power Hub by GIVI. Okay, that is once again the hub. Alright, so stay tuned and we'll get on to doing the install on the bike and see how it performs, and I'll show you also the fitting for the GIVI tank bag. What I'm going to do is show you the actual installation of the Connect into the bag itself. Now this is a GIVI bag that has already got the Connect hole created in it by GIVI. So what we're going to do is undo this fitting. Now this is an option. It's a bung to cover the outside connector on the bag. I'm going to put it on. I'll see if we need to use it. Although it's a pretty ordinary fit, it probably fits nicely in there, which it does. So what we'll do, we'll put it in, because it does create a rubber seal there. So what we'll do, we'll put that on like so, and we'll just push that, or we'll try and push that through with a reasonable amount of force, like that. Make sure that rubber is seated properly. Okay, so that will end up doing that. Okay, and whether or not I use it remains to be seen, but it's there anyway. So once that's through, that's what it looks like on the inside of the bag. Okay, you should be able to see that just there. And then you screw this on, hold this other side as you're screwing it in. And that's it. That's your connection done. The hub, I'm not going to use Velcro on mine. There's Velcro included, but I'm actually not going to use Velcro because I want it to be able to move around easily. And essentially what we're going to do there is just pull that connection back, and there you have your connection. That's it. And that can be mounted anywhere you like. Under there, like so. Yeah, look, probably one criticism is that it takes up a bit of room in the bag, but I mean, in all honesty, what doesn't? I think it's a great idea myself. Possibly a tad overpriced, but as long as it does the job. Right, what I've done is actually made up a short lead with a Merit plug or Hella plug, whichever way you want to call it, which fits into the plug mounted actually on the bike, as you can see there. Okay, so the idea is that the CAN bus will be running the hub only when the bike's operational. I don't want to inadvertently forget and discharge the battery for whatever reason. So that's why I've elected to put a Merit plug on there. Now, I made the lead out of this type of cable. Hope you can see that. Hopefully the camera will focus on it. It's suitable gauge for 5 amp, and I've routed it as best as I can underneath the fairing work through following the existing cable lines. I didn't pull the bike apart. I thought I might have to, but I managed to actually find a route for the cable to go through properly and safely. So that's the stage I've got it to at the moment. I'm going to leave it for tonight because we've got a few things on. So we'll get back to it tomorrow, and I'll show you a little bit more about it. But that's what we've got to so far. You might be able to see this. It's supposed to be waterproof. It's very loose. I don't believe it's not even water resistant. It's also a standard blade fuse, which in general I've not had on the bike. The two additions on the bike, the Erica lights and the Stiebel air horn, are both powered with mini blades. So I thought what I'll do is I'll cut this out and install the Narva mini blade fuse holder. Yes, it's far more substantial wire, which we don't really need, but anyway, it's there. This uses a double flange seal, where this one only uses a very, very pitiful single flange. This one's actually quite tight to actually get on and off. So I believe this is going to do a better job. The other thing too is I'm also going to install this, if I can get the light right for you, there we go. That I'm going to install that in line. I know it's an added connection, but it's going to make it easier for when the bike's being serviced. You don't have to cut any cable ties or anything like that. You just literally unplug this connector. It's waterproof or water resistant, so that's going to go in line, and I'll show you what I've done with that when I've done it, just to make sure that it's working okay. So without further ado, I shall get on and hopefully get this installed on the bike. So stay with me. Right folks, well I've got the lead actually connected. That's the waterproof Narva two-way connector. This proved to be a bit of a problem to get on. The wires that you wire in and crimp on, in the male side, just pop that off for you, in the male side they crimped and locked perfectly. But in the female end, the crimp was really good, the silicone grommets were really good, but for some reason it would not lock into the body of the casing here, and it took a lot of pulling on these pins to actually pull through, get them to pull through, and you can hear this tiny faint click when it's finally locked. It was very problematic. It took a long while to get it in there, but anyway, it's there. So that's the whole idea, that you can pop that off, and that's actually separate. So that was my whole idea. So this can actually be mounted or folded up. I've got to run. This has got heat shrink on it. 5 amp fuse in here, as you can see. There's the 5 amp fuse. So, and it's a far, far better fit than the one that was supplied on this power cable. So I'm not impressed with GIVI for that, I'd have to say. You know, this power lead, of which that's it, that is essentially $40, and that's not including that. So yeah, if you want the thing to be waterproof or water resistant, you've pretty much got to scrap the fuse holder that's actually included on it and replace it with a better quality waterproof one, or at least water resistant. So anyway, I'm going to put this back together. I'm probably going to run a wrap of insulation tape around it and then tuck it up under the fairing, and then we'll use the adhesive mount on this, which I'll show you when I've done that. So this is all how I've done it. How you want to do it and what you think of it is entirely up to you, but it's just a suggestion. Yeah, and hopefully it'll help you out a little bit, but I'll show you the mount for this when it's actually on the bike. So I'll get this taped up and we'll go from there. So what we've got here, we're actually on the bike, as you can see. That's where I've mounted the connection through from the power point. The fuses, the fuse, it's going to be almost impossible to see, but it's tucked up under the fairing. That cap there is the dust cap for here, because that's an extension cable that comes up to that connection that we've just put into the bag. Okay, and that's it there, and it's got this neoprene or silicon boot, if you want to call it that. So the silicon boot. Excuse me if I'm sort of drifting off. It's very difficult to actually film this with one hand, with a video light and a microphone all sitting in one hand. So that just pushes in there like that. So it's quite nice and easy to do. And just stepping over a cable. And as you can see previously, that's the net result. So yeah, it's gone in pretty neatly. Took a little bit longer than I'd hoped, but I really do suggest, if you do nothing else, change that blade fuse holder for a mini, and make sure it's a good quality mini blade, because it's important that obviously you don't get moisture into the electrics, particularly and certainly in this case, because I'm going to be hooking into the power point there, which you can see, and that is connected through the CAN bus, and you do not want to upset that CAN bus. Anyway, that's it for this particular install. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, it's always very, very helpful. And please keep checking me out. It's the Motorrad Rider, and if there's anything you would like me to explain or recover, let me know. I'll answer any questions that I'll try and answer any questions that I can. So thanks once again for watching, and stay tuned for the next install video.